Hey guys, welcome back to the second week of Cook Along with me, Adam, youth worker. Today we're going to make some curried chicken tacos. Pretty simple. Some of you have had the ingredients dropped off already, so I'm going to go through it for those of you who haven't if you want to take part. So we've got some basic mini tortilla wraps, very readily available in supermarkets. We have some chicken thighs, chicken thigh fillets, so that's the leg with the skin taken off and the bone out. These are cheaper than the breasts and actually will be more succulent and juicy. If you hear little squawks, my daughter's in the background, don't worry about her. Then we've got a couple of onions, 2 to 3 onions depending on the size of them. Some peppers, a couple of sweet peppers there. Some coriander, fresh coriander. Natural yogurt. Oil, curry powder, and salt, and that's it. So the first things first, with these wraps, sometimes they get a little bit sort of stale, and they need to just be freshened up. So to make them sort of feel almost like a naan bread that's come out of one of those tandoori ovens, a real quick trick is to just get your pan nice and hot. So I'm just going to turn my pan on here now, and this is probably going to be mega hot. Now this thing gets crazy hot, but I'm going to just get a dry pan so there's no oil in there whatsoever, okay? I'm just going to drop the wraps in there. Whilst you're doing this, I'm going to keep an eye on those, and they're only going to, once the pan's hot, they're going to need 30 seconds on each side. I'm just going to chop up my onions. So take the top and the bottom off your onion, okay, so then you've got a flat surface. Slice it in half, like that. And then you have another flat surface. Get rid of the bits. So just peel off the outer layer. Let's have a look at how these wraps are doing. Just warming up nicely. Okay, and then we're just going to cut them into sort of 4. So you want nice big chunks of onion in a taco. You don't want really sort of finely diced onion. So just into 4 again. I'm going to do that. Repeat that. The other 2. Whilst keeping an eye on that taco. If you want, you could do these tacos first if you prefer to keep an eye on it. I'm just trying to save you watching time. So that is just starting to puff up now. I'm just going to wait until we get some little scorch marks on it, and then I know it's done. So as soon as this starts to smoke, we know we're nearly there. This is another second onion going chopped now, chopped into chunks. There we go. And the third one, or if you've only got 2, that's fine, just do the 2. That's just starting to get some colour on it now. Okay. Last onion to go. Get rid of those bits. Okay. That's lovely, that taco is done. So that, the onions are done, first taco's done, that's going to come out, next one goes in. Do you see the difference? I'm going to bring that up close because the camera's not so great in here. So there's the toasted one, there's the untoasted one. Okay, so you're looking for these marks, and just makes it feel a lot fresher. Okay, so we're going to go for the second taco in there. And as the pan gets hotter, these will take less time. Okay, for your peppers, you take your pepper like that. Okay, thumb in, pop it, rip it in half. Okay, you can take the seeds out in one go. You've got the peppers just to slice up. And again, we want these to be nice and kind of rough chopped. Turning the breads over as we go. Just watch your fingers in the pan. I need to remember that I do this all the time. And, you know, I don't worry too much about it, but just be careful. If you go in quickly, you can turn stuff over and it doesn't burn you. Just don't leave your hand in the pan for very long. Right. Peppers, just going to slice those into nice big chunks, like so. Nice big chunks there. And again, there we go. You want to know that you've got a bit in your taco. That's the idea. They're puffing up now, lovely now, these tacos, 1 to go. You guys can do 8, but I'm only just going to do 4 today. I've probably got enough there for 8. Small little tacos. Last one being done now. Just a few seconds. I've got all my onions and peppers ready. So as soon as this last taco is done, and they're going real fast now because this is a really hot pan. See the smoke rising? Okay, last one done. Okay, so tacos are now warm and ready to go. So we're going to go in with some oil, so probably about a tablespoon of oil. You need a little bit because you're going to get quite a bit of natural sugars coming out of the onions, okay, and the peppers. So get those into the pan, nice and hot. Okay, onions and peppers, and at this point give them about a teaspoon of salt as well. Okay, and that is going to help draw out the moisture in your peppers and your onions, because we want these to caramelise, because they get really sweet and delicious when they're caramelised. And by putting salt in there, salt will always dry out any water that's in anything. So it draws the water out of the vegetables and gets them to become to a state where they're really charred and lovely. Okay, so we're just going to keep them moving now. Getting a bit smoky in here. You hopefully won't have to do it in your dining room like me, but if I tried to film this in my kitchen, you wouldn't be able to see anything. So using this little tabletop stove, but that's okay. So this is really, really simple. Okay, whilst those are ticking away, I'm going to start to chop up my chicken thighs. Now, really easy way to do this, I'm going to put some gloves on. You guys just make sure that if you're not going to wear gloves, that once you've handled the chicken, you wash your hands, okay? Because obviously cross-contamination with poultry is not a good thing, okay? You need to make sure you handle any raw chicken, poultry, you need to wash your hands afterwards. But because I'm not going to go off camera, I'm going to use my gloves. So I'm just going to keep those peppers going. They're looking nice. You want the peppers to be nearly cooked before this chicken goes in. The chicken isn't going to take very long. We need some time for those peppers to break down. Right, so I'm just going to open up the thigh fillets, so they're going to be flat like that, okay? Take your scissors, now I'm going to use scissors because it's just easier, and just cut them into strips, okay? Cut them back into the packet or onto a plate, okay? And then once this is all done, you can just tip them in. So I'm just going to slice, you get about 5 strips out of the thigh, roughly. You want them all to be about the same size so they cook evenly, okay? So I'm just going to keep slicing these up. That's 2 done. Okay, keep going with those. I'm going to give my pot a little stir. Again, you could get this done before you start cooking if you wanted to. Yeah, or you could get the peppers and onions ready, and then you could take them off the heat while you do this if you want. Nice hot pan for this, so you want to get the peppers and onions nicely charred. Loads of colour on them. They're looking good. This is almost like if you go for a chicken tikka masala or a chicken tikka in the curry house, and they bring out that steaming hot pan with all the peppers you've probably seen. That's kind of what we're going for here. Right. Okay, so I'm going to crack on with chopping these up. We're nearly there. And 1 to go, final one. There we go. We should almost be at the stage where this can go into the pan, because the peppers and onions are starting to break down. They're going to continue to cook with the chicken, so you only want to sort of start them off really. Okay, so that's all chopped. Excuse me. I'm just going to add a little bit of salt. Okay, so about another teaspoon of salt into the chicken. Just season your chicken a little bit before it goes into the pan. Right, so chicken is chopped and seasoned, so that is going to go straight in. Okay, we're just going to fry that off. I'm going to get rid of the packet, get rid of that bit of dirty chicken there, and take my gloves off. So this is the point where you guys need to go and wash your hands, and then make sure you don't touch any more raw chicken, okay? Right, start working that through the pan. Keep going. You might find that it starts to stick a little bit to the pan. If it does, you can give it a splash of water, and that will just help to sort of loosen everything up. But at the moment, this is looking okay. I'm just going to keep working those chicken pieces around the pan. All is good. And once you start to cook them, I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Once the chicken starts to brown, we will then be able to get some of the curry powder and pop that in there, and that will flavour the chicken as curry chicken. Quite simple, really. I'm actually smoking my house out, so I'm going to go and open the door. Bear with me 1 second. Woo. Getting smoky in here. Make sure you do it with the windows open if you're doing it in the kitchen as well. It's alright though, it's all good. It'll clear. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. Frying off that chicken. Takes a little bit of time. Now this is starting to stick. So what I'm going to do, this is a really good point. I'm going to put in some of the chili powder, the curry powder. So I'm going to go for, I haven't got anything to measure. In fact I have, I've got a tablespoon. Like a dessert spoon. So I'm going to go for a dessert spoon of, heaped dessert spoon of curry powder in there. Okay, followed by a little splash of water. Just a little bit. Okay, and that's going to kind of help to steam and fry everything together, but also it's going to make sure that those spices don't burn to my pan. Okay, so mix the spices into the chicken. Okay, and you're kind of just going to start to poach things, and the water will evaporate a little bit quite quickly, and it will mean that the water's helped to mix that spice all over your peppers and your onions and the chicken. And you'll start to look a little bit like tandoori chicken. Okay, while we're waiting, I'm going to just get some of this coriander. Now you can use the stalks and the leaves. I like to use some of the leaves for a garnish. The stalks can cook down into your curry. So chop the stalks quite finely. Okay, so you can get those straight into the pan, and they'll wilt down a little bit like spinach. And you can save the tops to put on right at the end. So you get a little bit of freshness and a little bit of more cooked kind of coriander going on. Here we are. That's starting to look good. So a good way to test if this chicken is done is to slice it open, and if it's white all the way through, then you know it's cooked. Okay? I'm just going to keep cooking that. We're nearly there with this. Not long to go at all. There's one final touch that we make, just as we know that it's done. I'm going to test a piece of this chicken now. Just going to slice it open. See, that is still a little bit pink inside. You probably can't see there. You'll see if I go closer. Okay, can you see that that is still a little bit pink? Okay, I'm going to keep cooking that for a little bit longer. It's a good, great way of testing it. And you'll see that the liquid is all starting to dry up now and it's starting to fry again. So make sure you keep stirring and scraping anything that's catching on the pan at the bottom. Okay, if it won't come off, add a little bit more water. Just a little splash, and it will just help to lift all that flavour off the bottom of the pan. There shouldn't be anything left in the pan. The pan, all those spices cooking in the bottom of that pan, that is flavour, and you'll be missing out on that flavour in your taco if you don't chop it properly. All that cooked, I'm just going to get a cloth just to wipe my board. Okay, let's wipe this down. Get ready for service. It won't take another 2-3 minutes. I'm doing all of this live. Well, it's not live, I'm going to upload it, but this is real-time cooking. So I reckon this whole dish maybe takes 15-20 minutes from top to finish. And it's an absolute banger, you'll see for yourself. Real tasty, real easy. Everyone's got a bit of curry powder in the cupboard, or hopefully. If you haven't, then if you're one of my AC lot, you certainly have now, because it's in your pouch, in your package, sorry, not packet. Okay. Now another little check of this meat. The only want it to be just cooked through. Yeah, that's all white all the way through now. So I'm happy with that. So, next bit. Take it off the heat. So I just turn the pan off. Let it cool for a second. Let the sizzling slow down. Okay, it's just starting to slow down. Now, if you put this in too early, it will do what we call, it will split, okay? But as the pan heats, like reduces when it comes off the heat, just going to put 1 big spoon of natural yogurt. You've got natural yogurt with honey, which is even better because it gives it a little bit of sweetness. I couldn't get any for me. So 1.5 teaspoons, so tablespoons of yogurt. I'm just going to work that through and it'll just become like a creamy sauce. Just a little bit. Now we don't want much sauce because this is going into a taco and it'll get really messy, but a little bit goes an awful long way. So just stirred in that sauce, or that yogurt, okay? And now it's looking pretty good. And then what we're going to do is just finely chop the last bit of this coriander. Sprinkle that over the top. So the stuff you cooked before has probably disappeared now, so get some fresh stuff in there. And then literally, going to load these up. So you take one of your tacos, like that. Going to get a bit of a mix of your chicken, peppers, onions, all the rest of it, into the taco, like that. Nearly there. Okay, then I like to add a tiny bit more yogurt, just to serve in, and just going to pop this down. Finally, just a couple of leaves of fresh coriander, and there you have it, guys. Curry chicken tacos. Bring that up to you. That's what we're looking for. And believe me, these are hot, done eating that quickly, but really, really good. Hope you enjoy. Next week's going to be chili con carne. I'll see you soon. Thanks.